Welcome. Today we're going to talk about Agent Client Protocol ACP support and how we've integrated that with TsAgent. So first of all, Agent Client Protocol ACP, it's an MCP-like protocol for integrating code editors and IDEs with agents. So you can basically plug any agent into any editor that supports it. It's originally from Zed. It's being adopted by a bunch of people, a bunch of other clients and IDEs, and a bunch of other agent platforms. And they have a fair amount of agent platforms that they kind of give built-in via CLI adapter, so you have access to Cloud and a bunch of others right out of the box. It's MCP friendly, by which I mean it's kind of a clever model in that the IDE or code editor client can have MCP servers installed, and those MCP servers are shared with the agents that it calls. So if you've got a project set up with a bunch of MCP servers that are specific to that project, maybe like file system MCP servers that can act on that file system, or others, things that are specific to that project, those MCP servers get passed down to the agents and the agents can use them, which is kind of cool. It's got really good docs and SDKs. It was super easy to implement the server side of this, and I think the client side would be just as easy. And you can go to agentclientprotocol.com. So just one note, this is not to be confused with Agent Communications Protocol, which was the thing that everybody thought ACP stood for like the 6 months before this came out. That was originally from IBM, moved to the Linux Foundation, and it got merged into A2A. So that ACP has sort of gone away and is not something to worry about. But it can be kind of confusing. I started seeing people talking about ACP recently, and I thought, what are you talking about? That's dead. And it's not dead. It's a completely different new thing. So anyway. So Zed is kind of the primary platform. It's where you're going to test it. There are other IDEs that support this, but Zed's probably where you want to start. And I started by thinking, like, do I really need another IDE? Probably not. Like, I'm a Visual Studio Code person. The part of the reason I like Cursor is because it's just Visual Studio Code. It's a very mature, stable platform. It's been around for a long time. This is extremely well supported. Lots of cool extensions, things like that. And I'm just used to it. And that's to some extent part of the reason I don't use Claude Code as much as I just like being the way that I'm sitting in Visual Studio Code or Cursor. And being able to see what the agent's doing and also see the files and see the change list in a way that I'm comfortable with. So with Zed plus ACP, it allows you to manage your project settings, MCP tooling, key binding, sort of everything that's specific to your development environment and that project and the project. And you manage that all in the IDE without tying that to the agent. So you can use any agent you want. You can switch agents whenever you want. Out of the box, it supports Claude Code, Codex, and Gemini CLI. Via some kind of clever CLI integrations that they've built into Zed, but it'll support any other ACP agent, including TsAgent or Docker CAgent, and a bunch of others. And I will say this is now my preferred way to use Claude Code. I don't think it'll replace Cursor, but when I'm using Claude Code, the fact that I have a kind of a Cursor-like IDE now, and I can switch whatever agent I want, including Claude Code, into it is pretty nice. And I like the idea that if I want to try out some new agent that's supposed to be awesome, I don't have to switch my dev environment to whatever their own, IDE is that they decided to make up. I can just switch and say like, hey, I want to play with, the new Google stuff they just announced. I can just plug that in as an agent into my IDE and start going without having to switch everything over. So let's do a quick demo. We'll start out, we're going to use this agent. So we're in TsAgent Foundry, and we have an agent that's called TSpark, which we're going to use, and it's an agent that's not really a coding agent. It's just an agent that knows about the TeamSpark AI platform, so it can sort of answer questions and do things with the TeamSpark AI platform. So let's first go look at how we install this. And we come into Zed. This is what you'll see. This is kind of your welcome screen, and you'll see that out of the box it has Claude Code, Codex, and Gemini already sort of set up through these CLI integrations. They work pretty good. They work just like you'd expect them to work. You can also add your own agent. So this is anything that supports ACP. So we'll say add custom agent, and the user interface is just going to drop you into the settings.json file, which is fine. So let's just say we want to call this TsAgent, and we'll drop our command. So we're just going to run npx. It's a little faster performance-wise if you install this locally. If you just npm install the ACP server locally, but we're just going to run it from npx to make it simple. We'll do -y to suppress the confirmation prompt. TsAgent ACP server is the repo or is the package. That's this guy. And then this is pointing to our agent that we're going to run. So this is a lot like the way the A to A runner works or the MCP meta runner works, where it basically takes this server and the agent that it's going to run. So that's all you have to do. We'll hit save, and you'll see TsAgent popped up right there. It's installed. That's pretty easy. And then let's just go into a project. So this is a simple project I made. This is just a Hello World project. I had Claude Code build a Hello World CLI in TypeScript. But let's say that I wanted to test out my new agent functionality. I can just go over here and create a new thread. Say I want a new TsAgent thread. See that it's loading. Took a second. Just say hello and see what it says back. It's just slightly slower the first time you run it because it's running via npx. If it was installed locally, it would be quicker than that. So we're going to ask it a question that's specific to Team Spark. But if this was a coding agent, or this is a TSA agent that you built that let's say you made a DevOps agent or whatever, you'd be able to actually interact with your project here. And then we'll see we got back a nice answer. It's all like markdown formatted and displayed properly. So we see, a bunch of information that came from our TsAgent agent. So pretty straightforward, super simple. You just drop it in, configure it, and now you have access to whatever agent platform you want. It's pretty nice. So just a couple of things before I leave here. This agentclientprotocol.com page is really nice, great documentation, explains the SDKs, overview, good way to get up to speed. And if you go to the Zed page on there, zdev/ACP, that's another nice kind of way of looking at it. They have a little bit higher level explanation and some demo stuff. And then they also have this ecosystem. So they show you the editors besides Zed that support it. And also some clients that support it. They don't have, or some agents that support it. They don't have everything in here. Like Docker isn't in here. They just did the support a couple days ago. So yeah. So yeah, you can easily access your TsAgent agents from inside your client of choice. Probably Zed, but any of those clients. The initial use case, I think, likely for this is when you build expert agents. So if you build either agents that have access to large knowledge bases in TsAgent, or you have specific tooling, so you build something like a DevOps agent or something like that in TsAgent, now you can just drop these into your IDE. We didn't implement the shared MCP server support yet. We have a whole plan for that. It's not a giant job, but essentially the idea that the client will be able to pass down the MCP servers that are configured in the project, and we can use those as well. So that's coming soon. Anyway, I think this is now every possible way that you could run an agent that we support. So we support running the agent via MCP, via A to A, via API integration, and now via ACP. So every way that you'd want to run an agent, I think you can run in TsAgent. Thanks.